do now problems up here, and then one which is a bit of a challenge. I want to give you guys, let's say, 3 minutes to work through these, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to walk around. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, you have a job to do. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll get it. You are working. We're just going to take attendance. If you could raise your hand when I call your name. Judith? Guadalupe?
Here.
Nelly?
Here.
Miguel?
Here.
Christian?
Here.
Evelyn? Evelyn?
She left home. She was sick.
Leslie?
Here.
Salvador? Selena? Jose? Sergio? Kevin?
Here.
Brian? Brian? Eric? Alicia? Sarah?
Here.
Wendy? Eduardo? Adeline?
Here.
Impressed with this class. As I walk around, I see everyone's gotten started on their do now. Several people are already on the second problem. That is awesome. See those lines going down the middle. I see the answer being boxed. It's a good class. I forgot how good you guys were. When you do receive a sticky note, if you could just throw your name on it, put it on some corner of your desk where I can see it. This should be the last day I need to do this. It's my second time in here with you guys, but there's still a few names I don't have totally memorized, so that would be hugely helpful to me. Let's go ahead and get started. And I will say for the third problem, I haven't really given you guys quite enough time to solve it yet. That's absolutely fine. If you want to take your best guess for number 3 right now, that's perfect. So for this first one, negative 15 equals negative 4m plus 5. Someone with a raised hand, help me out. How do I solve it? Yes, sir. How do we do it?
First, you gotta simplify.
First, we have to simplify. Okay, I look at this side, I say, totally simplify.
Yeah.
I look at this side, I say, totally simplify. Done. Simplify. What?
Then you gotta get the variables on one side.
Okay. Get all the variables to one side. We got negative 4m on one side. There's no variables over here. Done.
You subtract 5.
Okay. So now you're moving 5 over here to the left side. We have negative 20 equals negative 4m.
And then you divide by negative 4.
Divide just here, negative 4?
Both sides.
Both sides. I gotcha. Divide both sides by negative 4. We do get 5 equals m.
I did a different process.
Okay, I want to come to in a second because I want to hear about that. I'm going to finish here and I'll be over here in a second. Eduardo, how do you check this?
You plug in the number for the variables.
Okay. So we plug in this number for the variable on top. And how do you know if you're right or you're wrong?
You gotta get, like, let's say the 15, you gotta get the same thing both sides.
You gotta get this side we know is negative 15. We have to see when you plug in 5 here, is negative 4 times 5 plus 5 also negative 15? If it works, you got it, then your answer works. Alright, and is it Jose? Alright, Jose, you said you had a different way to do it. What was your way?
Yes. Instead of leaving the variable negative 4m, I added 4m to each side.
Yep.
And got positive 4m. I got 15 minus 4m equals positive 5. And I just added 15 to both sides. We got 4m equals 20 and divided by 4.
Yep. First of all, I want to say that's really impressive, because that is, I think, a less standard way, a way that probably Mr. D hasn't shown you guys. You're absolutely right. You can move this 4 to this side, then you can add the 15 and solve it that way. The reason we usually wouldn't do that is it adds an extra step, so it's a little more work for you. But if you want to do it that way, it absolutely works. Very impressive. All right, the second one, let's go ahead and solve it. Eric, can you help us out?
Yeah, you have to distribute first.
Okay.
You gotta simplify your equation.
All right, I'm going to put that line down the middle just so I remember. So I forget these things. So you have to distribute first. And when you do distribute, what do you end up getting? By the way, good use of vocab. What do you end up getting?
Negative 48 minus 40.
Okay, on this left-hand side, does it stay the same? Does it change?
It stays the same.
Stay the same. So now we have 3n minus 5 equals negative 48 minus 40n. From there, Guadalupe, can you help us out? Get all your variables to one side. I like it. Which side do you want to move them to? Okay. Why do you decide? Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's no. I'm just curious why you decide. I would move it to the left too, because I don't like to work with negatives as much. So I'd say let's just add it there, then we'll have all positive variables. I was just curious if that was your thought process. All right. So we move it all to the left. We have 43n minus 5 equals negative 48. Nelly, can you help us out from there?
You subtract, and you add 48.
Okay. So let me pause you for a second. What's your goal right now? Get n by itself. You're right, my n's do look a little like h's. So we want to get n by itself. What's keeping the n from being by itself? Which numbers are keeping it from being by itself? Yep, the 43 and the 5, right? So we got to deal with one of those two. So you have a choice. We can add 5, move it over there, or we can divide by 43. Alright, so we'll add 5 to both sides there. And we get 43n equals negative 43. Divide both by 43, and you do get n equals negative 43. This should be reviewed. This should feel pretty good to you guys right now, but I do want to pause to take any questions if you guys have. Okay, third one. First of all, did anyone have a chance to solve this algebraically? All right, for those of you who solved it algebraically, put your hands down. That's awesome, but I don't want to hear from you right now. For those of you who haven't solved it algebraically, I want to get some guesses. So we got one person has a cup of 10 pennies, adding 3 every minute. Another with a cup of 25 pennies, adding 2 pennies every minute. We want to know after how many minutes they're going to be the same number of pennies. We are going to do the experiment at the end of the hour, see if our algebra does in fact match real life. So I just want to get some guesses from the people who did not already solve it. 10 minutes. All right, let's put it up on this board over here. 10 minutes. Let's yell about what else we got. 10 minutes. 15. What else? It's not possible to guess incorrectly. What else you got?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Anything else? I'm gonna put a guess up here too. I'll put 18 minutes. No, I'm just guessing. Okay. All right. Say again?
No.
All right. So we got our guesses up there. We will come back to at the end of the hour. Obviously, algebra lets us not just guess, actually solve something like this, but we'll see how close we were just with our. So here is the plan for today. First of all, our goal, very simply, is to write and solve real-life equations. You guys have started this before. Basically, what we're doing today is upping the difficulty level. So where you've been doing mostly two-step real-life equations before, now we're going to do some two-step, but we're going to also move on to some multi-step ones. So like those multi-step equations that you've been solving, now we're going to put them in written. And the reason I'm so excited about this is what matters, right? You don't go into the grocery store and see 5x minus 10. Maybe you do. I don't know what grocery store you guys got that. But I know I don't see that. But I do see real problems that we can use algebra for. So today is, I think, the one that matters the most, because it's how can we take these skills that you guys have been building for the last month, 2 months, and apply. And in order to do that, we're going to start with some example problems about getting real some notes. I said last time 25 minutes, and I was a big liar. It was like 60 minutes. Today it will actually be 25 minutes, I promise you. You can look at the clock right now and hold me to it. We're going to do my very favorite kind of trash ball, which is attack and defend trash ball. And then there is a quiz at the end of the hour to show what you do. I will say right now, you stay focused, you stay with me. You will be absolutely fine. First hour we already looked at their quizzes, and I'd say 90+% got 3 out of 4 of them. You stay with me, you'll be good to go. Cool? You guys have any questions before we get started? Okay, then what I'd like you to do is I would like you to have a neighbor or a partner to talk to as we go through this stuff. So I'm going to ask is, can you guys move your desks over? You guys move your desks over. And if you need to move seats just a little bit to have a neighbor, that's fine. But move somewhere where you have someone who you can talk to. Keep your desk facing the front, but I want you to have someone to talk to. Alright. And before you even need to look at these notes, these exciting notes, before you even need to look at them, I'm going to ask you to have a discussion with your partner. I know you've seen Ruby's before. I know you've seen it several times. What I would like you to do is with your neighbor, I'm going to wait for a few eyes up here. Make sure I gather them. Still waiting on 3 people. With your neighbor, I'd like you to just remind each other what Ruby stands for, what each of those letters stand for, and I'd like the person with the smallest shoe size to go first. Please remind your neighbor what Ruby stands for. What do those letters stand for? You go first. Walking around listening.
Dress shoes is different.
Heard some good things. Heard something about reading in there.
Yes, sir. We have the same shoes.
You go first. You go first.
Ruby stands for rewrite, underline, write.
When you finish, other person, the person who has not spoken or did a group of 3, the largest shoe size, explain what you like about Ruby's and what you don't. The person with the largest, the person you like.
Ruby's that find everything. I don't like movies to get the reach.
Alright, that's it. Conversation's over. That's all we got. Okay, so I want to hear first what it stands for, what it means, and then what do you like about it, what don't you like. So let's start with R. Remind me, is it Sergio? Okay, Sergio, what does the R stand for?
Read.
Yeah, read and reread. So, like, if you're going to solve the problem, probably a good step. Read it first. And I would actually add on to this, rephrase it. I like to put it just in my own words. Like, sometimes it's phrased really weirdly, or it's not how I think about things, so I like to just, in my mind, simplify it, make it easy. Alright, what about you? Just as a call, what is you? Underline. Underline that question, that last thing. Bracket keywords. Can someone with a raised hand remind me, what are keywords? Like, how do I know a keyword from a non-keyword? Jose, how do we know?
Keywords is what's going to be important to the problem, and non-keywords is something that's just there.
Okay. I want you to be more specific. Give me examples of keywords from like a problem that you've done before.
Like if you want, like right here, it says that she has driven 3 times as many miles as her younger sister.
Yep.
You would bracket three times because it's important how much time she's gonna drive.
Okay, so it's indicating the ratio, which is 3, and then that it's a multiplication. Awesome. All right, we got bracket keywords. Identify a useful problem-solving strategy. Well, I'll tell you today, we're doing write an equation. So we're not. It's identified for you today. E is experiment. Make sure that, like, you know, try to solve it. And then S is my favorite one. Does anyone with a raised hand remember what S is?
Solve.
Everyone thinks so. That's not solve. Solve. Maybe you already solved it when you're experimenting. So here's what I'll say. A lot of times I'll ask a question like, you know, how many dollars did you put into the bank last week? And I'll get answers like, oh, 45 weeks, Mr. Rubens.
See if the answer makes sense.
See if the answer makes sense. Yes. See if what you're actually putting at the end makes sense. If we're asking for dollars, are we giving it in dollars, or are we giving weeks or months or something else totally bizarre? So that is the very last one. And I would like us to go ahead and give these a shot. We're going to go through the notes pretty quickly. So I'm going to ask, let's see. Judith, can you read us this first problem?
While in college, Andrea works part-time as a salesman for a cellular telephone service. She gets paid $250 a week, plus $15 for each contract a customer signs. She needs to earn at least $460 per week in order to meet her living expenses. What is the number of contracts she needs to sell each week to meet her living expenses?
All right, Judith, thank you so much for that. We read it. Are done, check. What would we underline? Nellie, can you remind me, what would we underline here? Yeah, and what is the question here?
What is the number of contracts she needs to sell each week to meet her living expenses?
Great. Great. If you haven't already done that, please do underline that sentence right now. And here's the biggest tip that I want to give you guys. So if you're not with me, if you're already moving ahead working on this problem, please look back up right now. When you underline that question, that is the time, if you know you're going to use a variable, to write your variable. So what are we trying to solve for again? You just told me. What did you tell me we're solving for? Contracts, right? All right, so what do we want our variable to be? C. C equals number of contracts. Put it in there right now. If you know you're going to use a variable, now's the time to make it happen. And I'll say this. On the quiz that you guys are taking at the end of the hour, it is required that you have that variable labeled on the top to get any credit for the problem. Part of the reason why is, like, you might think it's pretty obvious with these one variable problems. When we get to 2 variables, 3 variables, when it gets more complex, this is going to really help you keep track. All right, so we got C equals number of contracts. We know to bracket some keywords. Now I'm going to bracket something. I'm going to ask you guys a question. I'm going to bracket this. I'm going to bracket this. I'm not going to bracket either of those pairs. So here's my question. I want you to go back to your neighbor. I'm not going to say longest hair or shortest hair. I just want you to have a discussion. Why, in this question, do those pairs not matter? They don't. Why not? Why not? Why not? Have a discussion. Why not?
Not for weeks.
Quotation for the contract, not for how many.
I'll go with the cover.
It doesn't really matter because you're solving how much can she make or earn at least.
All right, I'm going to stop you guys. Does anyone with the raised hand have a theory about why these pairs don't matter? Sometimes the pairs matter, sometimes this one. Why does that matter?
It's asking for how many contracts, how many per week.
Yeah, so it's asking us how many contracts, not how many weeks, right? And how many weeks is this problem talking about? Yeah, what is the number of contracts you need to sell each week? So 1 week, right? So who cares how much she's paid per week? We just need to know she makes $250 plus that $15 per contract. And all together, we want to know how she's going to be how many contracts she needs to sell to get that $460. For those of you guys who have not already solved this, I want to give you about 30 seconds to do it. For those who have solved it, please move on to the next one. See what you can do. If you got the next one solved, move on to the next one. You got a few to do. Staying focused here, working hard. I like it. When you got that number at the end, remind me, is it dollars, is it contracts? What are you talking about when you get that number at the end? If you got that one, take the next one on. See if you can do it without any help. I'll say that before you move on to this one. Once you read this. All right, I'm going to pause right there. Please go ahead and take a look up at the board if you did not check yours already. Does anyone have any questions about the 14 contracts? All right, you guys are awesome. Let's move on then. It's going to get a little harder. can I ask, we'll hide their names, the people I want to call on the most. Let's see. Yeah. Alright. We'll go with Wendy, and then Leslie, you're up next. Wendy, Wendy, can you help us out? Would you mind reading this one right here?
A gym charges its members $5 per entry to the building, along with $1 extra each time they want to go into the pool. Michael swims in the pool every time he goes to the gym. If he paid a total of $66 last month, how many times did he go to the gym?
All right, thank you very much. So, Leslie, I said I was going to you next. So, Leslie, what would you want the variable to be here?
T.
Yeah, and what does T stand for?
How many times he went to the gym?
Yeah, T equals number of times at gym. All right, so we know it's $5 per entry to the building, along with $1 each time he goes to the pool. He goes to the pool every time. So how could we write this as an equation? This one's going to be a little different. How could we write it? Yes, sir, how would we do it?
5 plus 1 t
Okay.
equals 66.
All right, 5 plus 1t equals 66. I'm going to put it up here, but I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, so here's my question. Every time he goes to the gym, what happens?
You have to pay 5.
Well, hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. What happens when he goes to the gym?
Pay $5 per entry.
Okay, so right here, I'm seeing he pays $5 one time. And then he pays $1 every time he goes to the gym. If you wanted to show that he's doing $5 every time he goes to the gym, plus $1 every time he swims, how would you do that?
So is the variable?
Okay, so now it's $5 every time he goes to the gym, plus $1. But it's just $1 once. Is that what happens? Does he only pay $1 once?
So each time.
Okay, so then how do you do it?
Let me 60.
Hold that thought for 1 second. You told me that, I said, yeah, this makes sense. 1t, every time he goes to the gym, pays $1 for the pool. So that makes sense, but I don't like the 5 here. Now I said here, yeah, $5 every time he goes to the gym, that makes sense, but I don't like the 1 here. So how do you put those two ideas together? How do you do it?
You have to add a variable to 1.
Yeah, exactly. 5 times, however many times you go into the gym, for the entry to the gym, plus $1 times every time he goes to the gym, for entry to the pool. And all together, it's going to be how many dollars? 66, exactly. We combine our like terms, we get 66t equals, sorry, 66t. Mr. Rubens, what do you forget how to do? All right, we get 6t equals 66. And then we divide both sides by 6. And we get t equals 11, which means he goes to the gym 11 times. It's going to be a little tricky. So it's not always, a lot of people get stuck in this habit of being like, okay, one has a variable, one doesn't. One has a variable, one doesn't. Not necessarily. If both things are happening again and again, then they both need that variable. All right, awesome job. I am going to leave this up here. I'd like you and your partner to work together on those two at the bottom. I'm going to give you guys no more than 5 minutes, then we're going to move on. We're not going to do the last part of the notes, so we are 2/3 of the way done with the notes. Almost.
Let's make it 10 minutes.
Underlining stuff. I love that I hear people reading the Bible. This is awesome. Really excellent work. You can stay focused here. I like it. One thing I'm going to say right now. In the very beginning, your equation is 100% correct. Just remind me what that M stands for before you even start. So put it at the top. So that way when you get to the bottom and you get M equals whatever, you don't be like, oh yeah, dollars, $25. You know it equals.
Is that what I put?
I'm going to say that again. I said it to one person. I'm going to say it again. At the very top of your problem, you should have that variable labeled along with what it stands for. So if you're using M, tell me it means meters. Tell me at the beginning. When we have 2 variables, when we have 3 variables, we want to know what they mean. That's what matters. explain that to you? Make sure I know what M means. Yeah.
Negative money.
See, that's what I'm talking about. M means money. See, that's what I said. So put that variable, put that label at the top. Like at the top of this one, tell me that M equals meters. So at the bottom, we know when you get 9, it's 9 meters.
Okay. Taking. What is subtracting and subtract? You have subtraction. You still subtract.
How many minutes?
You do the opposite of subtraction, so you
So you got the right equation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this is, even I get confused when I see M equals. I don't know what M stands for. Like meter and minutes. I don't know. So I gotta make sure I label it too, or I make the same mistake that you do. Alright, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and put this one up on the board. Exactly at your own. Okay.
What time you go? 9? Andrew bought 5 CDs from Best Buy and Guy.
Make sure I know at the end. Now here's my one question to you. Your equation looks great. What's the question asking? Okay, so how many minutes? And then your answer is 9 meters.
9 minutes.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Make sure it makes sense, right? How many minutes? If it's that question, like how much money is in your bank account? 16 days. What?
Oh, we got top.
Okay, so you put the meters and minutes out of
Yeah.
But
But the M represents meters. You just finding out the variable M is.
total.
Oh my god.
What's your name? 12
Adrian bought 5 CDs from Best Buy and I bought 12 CDs.
I'm gonna give you guys about 3 more minutes. If you are done with the boat, don't be those people that stop. Be those people that flip it over and see if you can handle a challenge on your own. Try one of the last 2. Go to bubble 4, see if you can do one of them on your own.
So the variable will be
C. For C.
I just saw 3 people turn their papers over, try this out. These are excellent students. These are people that want to listen.
so 5 and you just combine like
Selena, I'm gonna ask you the same question I'm gonna ask you. Your algebra looks incredible. C equals 15 makes total sense to me. What does 15 stand for? 15 what?
Divide each by 17. What you got?
Okay, so 15.
15.
So is it 15 CDs, $15, 15 people?
15.
Okay, so just make sure that at the top, C equals cost of CD. So when you get 15 at the bottom, you know.
Flip it.
You get an idea for that second? Please, yeah, you finish with the second.
So C equals
Can you go ahead?
C equals cost.
Alright, once again, if you are finished with both of those, flip it over. Take it on yourself. We're going to go over these ones in just a moment.
Nellie has driven 3 times as many as her younger sister. Together, the 2 sisters have driven 5,581 miles. How many miles?
You know that's
We got, he's buying 5 CDs, for however much they cost. Plus 12 CDs for however much they cost. We know it says in the pound they're the same price.
Nellie has driven
That same price.
90. So we're gonna put.
You got it.
3x.
That'll give you 4x. Equals 5,584 divided by 4. Do your math. That gives you x equals 11. No, 11.
Each, it's
1,396 miles each go drive.
So x equals how many? What is x equal? The times?
S equals 1.
Alright, I am going to stop you guys. If you are not done, please pause. If you are done, please pause. So, if you're in this room, please pause. I want you to take a look real quick at your classmates' work. Sergio, I believe this was you, correct? So, Sergio, can you quickly just explain how you knew how to set up this problem?
That's enough. No. He started with 1,057 feet.
Okay.
I mean meters.
Okay, so this is how high he was. Gotcha.
And he was decreasing 101 per minute.
Yep.
And I wanted to know how long it would take we're gonna get a 148.
148. You solved the equation, you got 9. What is 9? Is it 9 meters? 9, how did you know? Because you said, exactly. Because you said m equals minutes, so we know when we get 9 at the end, it's 9 minutes. Alright, we gotta have a little fun. It's algebra class. We gotta have a little fun. So we're gonna give him a hamburger cheer.
What's that?
Hamburger cheer.
How you do that?
Burger.
Yes, put a hamburger.
No.
Alright,
Never studied.
Can we put the easy button?
Alright, so here's how the hamburger cheer works. Pretty simple. But you can't make fun of me. Yep. Alright, so you gotta do it. So I'm gonna do it once, you watch. No, actually just do it. Alright, go like this. The hamburger's on the grill right now. You got the sizzle. You gotta make the sizzle. I don't see people are sizzling. Alright, now you look at it. Not yet. You gotta say not yet. Not yet. Alright, let's do it again. Not yet. Alright. Well done. Is the burger's well done? Alright, I'll put that down. Alicia, you're up. Can you just explain to us? Hold on for 1 second. Alicia, could you explain to us how you set this up?
It says that Adrian bought 5 CDs and Kevin bought 12 CDs, and together they paid $255. So if you just put 5 CDs plus 12 CDs, and then equals 17 CDs. So you get 17 CDs altogether, and then you divide by 17, so you know the cost of each CD.
Cost of CDs, $15. You knew that the C was cost of CDs, so we got 15 at the flat. And thank you very much, Alicia. We are going to give her the firecracker cheer. This is the last cheer of the day. Okay, so it's very simple. You got a lighter. I'll show this one to you, and then you can do it. All right, got the lighter. Go.
Wait, what? I didn't see.
Okay, you light it. Okay. Alright, let's do it. That was an excellent explanation. Let's give her some props. Alright. Alright, excellent job. Very last one. Very last one. Just flip it over. We're going to do these two, and then we're going to start on attack and defend trash ball. I will tell you right now, the other class scored 46 points. That's your goal to beat. I told them that you guys thought you were better. I don't know if that's true, but I just kind of thought that. It is true. So you'll have your chance to prove it. Alright.
It's true. You know it.
Kevin.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to give these ones as examples because you're going to have a chance to do something very similar in the attack and defend basketball. Can I ask, Adeline, can you read this for us?
Nellie has driven 3 times as many miles as her younger sister. Together, the 2 sisters have driven 5,584 miles. How many miles did each girl drive?
Great. So we read, we underline, we bracket. Now, here's where it gets a little complicated. I said this was going to be an example. First, I'm going to start, and I'm going to say, let's say T equals Nellie's sister's miles. And I'll tell you right now, I just don't like to use S's as my variables because they look too much like 5s, I get confused. Most of the time in math, they don't use S's. So I said T equals Nellie's sister. And here's what gets confusing. A lot of people would say, okay, N equals Nellie's miles. Unfortunately, you do that. Suddenly you have 2 variables, 1 equation, you can't solve it, you're stuck, the world ends, it's terrible. You can't do that. But, here's the beauty. This is why I like it. Here's the beauty. We know how Nellie is related to her sister. We know that she has 3 times the amount of miles that her sister does. So we can just say this is Nellie's miles. Boom. I'm excited. Hope you guys are. So now we know Nellie's sisters, we know Nellie's miles. We know that together they drive 5,584 miles. In other words, 4T equals 5,584. And then we divide by 4. So when we divide by 4, if I recall, I can't do this in my head, but I think I recall, maybe 1,396?
Yeah.
You are correct.
You can do it.
Good memory from me.
That was easy.
Alright. Now here's I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. I'm gonna catch at least one of you at the end of the day. I'm gonna guarantee it right now. At least one of you is gonna stop right here, you're gonna circle this, you're gonna be done, it's gonna be the saddest thing in the world, and we're gonna all cry, but it's gonna be wrong. Why? What does the question ask?
How many miles?
How many miles?
Did each girl drive?
Each, right? What do we have? We have 1. Who do we have right now?
Nellie's sister.
Nellie's sister, right? So we gotta take this, and what do we do? With a raised hand. Yes. Exactly. We know that 3T is Nellie. So we do 3 times 1,396, and we get, anyone? I don't know.
4,188.
4,188. And we actually say this is sister's miles, and this is Nellie's miles. and you write it more neatly than me, otherwise no one will be able to read. So it's a little tougher. I'll tell you right now, I had a lot of students last year, students who scored proficient advanced on the end of course test, who still have struggled with problems like this. Because they forgot, and they try to make it with two variables. You don't need to. All right, very last example, then we're into attack and defend trash ball. Can I ask, let's see, names. All right, Kevin. Kevin, read this problem for us, sir.
Raphael currently has $48 in his bank account from his part-time job. He plans to save $86 per week. Caesar has $953 in his bank account, and he plans to spend $95 per week on gifts for his girlfriend. How many weeks must go by before Javier and Jose have the same amount of money?
Awesome.
That makes no sense.
It does. First of all, you're right. It does not make any sense. We got Raphael and Caesar, and suddenly they went away, and Javier and Jose came in, and this is just messed up. So, so this makes no sense. Agreed. So we do need to change this to Raphael. This is why you shouldn't use the same PowerPoint in 2 years. You got people from this year, you got people from last year. Okay. So we got this one should be Caesar. Eduardo, how would we set up this equation? Let's start with Raphael. What's going on with him?
Yes, 48. He's very good.
Okay. And then what's going on? Is he plans to save? Is he saving? Is he adding to his account or taking away?
Adding.
All right. So he's adding to his account. And how much is he adding?
$86 per week.
$86 per week. And we know it's asking how many weeks must go by. So I'm going to do W equals number of weeks. All right. And then we got 48 plus 86W. And what is going on? Sarah, what's going on with sales? How much is he starting with? So we saw for Raphael, he started with $48, and he was saving or adding $86 to his bank account each week.
And then the total is going to be $953, but he's going to subtract 95 per week.
Okay. I agree with you, but when you say total, what do you mean total? Like this right here, I could put up on.
The amount he has in his bank account.
All right, so this right here is Raphael, right? And we want to find out for Cesar, who's over here, on this side, how long it's going to take till he has the same amount. So you told me, right, that it would be 953 minus 95W. The only thing, Sarah, that I was confused about is, this isn't really the total. What is it? Like this is, Raphael has 48, he's saving 86 per week. This is Cesar, and what's going on with him? He starts with 953, and then what? Where did you get that minus from? You were right. Yeah, he's spending or is taking it away each time. So it's just saying when do they get equal? I assume at this point you guys can solve that once you got it written. Alright, now it gets to the fun part. Now it gets to play attack and defend trash ball, the very best kind of trash ball there is.
Oh. What's the cereal cheer?
Oh, next time. Can't give it all away on the first day. Alright, so this is how attack and defend trash ball works. You guys are going to receive some problems listed for you. I'm going to walk around, answer any questions you have. By the way, this is going to be me right here. This is going to be you guys. Once time is called, you're going to check your answers. All correct answers can be shot at the basket. There's going to be a basket up here in the front. Right about here or so.
You like basketball?
Yeah, this is the right. Basketball season's on. I'll put it up here. That's fine. Basketball season's on strike, right? This is the best you got, right here. The best basketball game you're gonna see all season. Okay. In any case, it's gonna be up here. You guys take a shot. I'm standing in front of here, packing you, keeping you from making any shots.
Could you sit on the box?
I obviously was pretty unsuccessful. You do what you need to do. If you need a distraction method thrown at me, then you do that. Class with the most baskets per person does receive, or most baskets receives 3 stamps per person. This is what you need to be. You have 2 rounds. They got 46 baskets last time. That's your goal.
Can you beat me so once?
Can I do? Absolutely not.
Let's only throw it at him so he can get up on the spot.
What do you think this is? Okay, so please go ahead and, as soon as you receive these problems, you may begin. I'm going to give you no more than 10 minutes for these 4 problems. It's going to get a little hard. Stick with it. I appreciate the focus. We're pretty close to being done. I love that I see some people still have their notes out. They know that's going to be a good reference for them. If you don't have your notes out, just know it's there. You need it. Do you have to say it? Yes, please do identify your variable. Thank you for asking that. Yes, please do identify your variable at the top. That is great practice for that quiz you're about to take, so you can actually get credit for your work. Before you go, this looks great, but please identify your variable. What's your variable going to be? What's it stand for? Before you write that equation. So what are you trying to solve for? What does that stand for? Okay. You underline. Right. How many lunches is all right? So that's what you want to know. So make that your variable. L equals number of lunches. I'm telling you, every time if you do that, this is going to be so much easier. All right. Before you write your equation, what's your variable? Days. But I thought we were trying to figure out how many lunches.
I'm confused.
Okay.
Because it says they spend that much days
Yep.
and they spend that much.
Right. And in total, they spend this. So, like, you just want to know how many lunches they're selling. Now, here's the big question. It's 60 per day. How many days are we talking about here?
One.
So, do we need to multiply it by d? Are we trying to solve for the number of days? Well, look back at the problem. Really? Lunches, right? It's just one day. So, we don't need to multiply by number of days.
All right.
Look back at that example problem. Staying focused, sticking with it.
What if you have a decimal?
Well, it's always possible to have a decimal. So, see if it makes sense. You got 60 plus 325t equals 560. Yeah, I'd say just check your algebra. Remind me at the end what that says. You said it, you had that? Now say 150 lunches. Is that what you want someone to be able to say? Okay, how many lunches? You have 5, 150 lunches. Because I'm telling you, 3 variables, this gets a lot. You want to be able to really be. Yep. And then just at the end, you can say 150 lunches. If you had it labeled like that at the top. So, spends, right? They spending this, and totally spending this. You can either do negative 60, negative this, and negative 560.
Oh,
You know, or you can do positive, positive. Either way works. Does that make sense? Good job. Talk me through this one.
So first, this guy bought 6 cans of tuna fish.
Okay.
And this guy bought 6 cans of tuna fish.
Okay. 18 cans. But
Oh, 18.
lots of tuna fish. Fair enough.
Together, basically 28.
Okay. So now that we know the question, what do you want your variable to be? What's the thing you're trying to solve?
How much the cans cost?
Okay. So let's make that a variable. Whoa, too soon. Before you can do that, tell me C equals number of cans. So you know it. So I'm just telling you.
There's 8.
6 more minutes. If you do finish early, there's a challenge problem up on the board. 6 consecutive numbers that add to 633. Solve that algebraically. It is worth 3 stamps on its own. You can solve it algebraically. So that is once you are done with all these numbers. You got it. Stick with it. Just start breaking it down. Start underlining. Start. You got it. Doing the algebra, right? Let me ask you a question. What's going on first? Okay, once. Alright. Okay, so forget about clean on. How would you write once? And then you want to make it equal to the others. So this up here, I want to know what it is. 6 consecutive numbers that add together equal 630. And you know consecutive? Did you guys already do one of these? It's like, the other class got nothing. 630? Yeah, something.
Me too.
I think you did 30 more.
How did you do number?
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're typing in, I think you switch it around.
I got it.
Nice. This is good. This is awesome. Yes. Is that all great? That's John. 6 consecutive numbers that add 630. Yeah, do you remember how to do it?
Was it by six?
Well, that's
I don't know
awesome.
that one.
Yes.
Like, I know how to do it, but I don't know.
Hold on a second. It's, I owe you 30 seconds. I'm going to take your phone.
This? I don't know. Put S. Just put S.
We got 2 things happening, right? We got all 3 stuff. Here we go. So I want you to try to figure out just how you write an equation. What's this term? What is all this term?
When you say it's not watching the
Okay. So there's 200, right? Why? Right, and that's all the B stuff. And you want that to equal to whatever length.
Why'd you do the other one?
20.
Yeah, the album turned into
Now you free as well. This is your expectation. That's 5 steps.
but I'm starting because okay, whatever.
Because this is the
Okay, I would say, but I like that you think about what it means. I would say it has to be greater than 20. Right, because it could be 29.1. You know what I mean? But I know. If I use it. Alright, please go ahead and check the ones that you are done with. Put it up here. See, I got here early this morning. It's an algebra. Check it over. Please go ahead and if you have the challenge problem you haven't already showed me, show me that first. Otherwise, go ahead and rip the ones that you got correct. Other ones.
Can we throw the ones with the wrong?
Do you have to put our name on it?
No, you didn't.
You cut them out?
Yeah. Right. You got all four right? Yeah. You're gonna shoot all the ones you got correct. You did it correct. Yeah. Like this, right? No need. This is your class or their class. I know their class is coming in here and shooting while you guys are shooting. So. Alright, you got 10 seconds until it's time to shoot. Do not make neat rips. We're not swinging any hard contact with this. Just go ahead and rip them. I am going to pull one out of the basket, make sure it's correct. Otherwise, I just dump the basket. Don't shoot those incorrect ones. You got it incorrect. Just put it this way. Alright, you got 15 seconds left to shoot it. There is the basket behind here. Hold it up. That's where it is. We got to make it fair. That's why the other way. Stand up. You can stand up. You can stand up. You just can't move.
So you can throw it at you, right?
You can throw it at me. You can do it. You got 7 seconds. You got 8 seconds left. You gotta go. You gotta go. Ready?
Oh, yes.
Yay! 2 seconds, 1 second. Alright. I will go ahead and count them up. We have one more round. We're only going to have time for, let's say, 3 out of the 4 problems. One more round. Guys, thank you for the focus. And I'd like you to start with the top right-hand one. Please start with the top right-hand one. There's one about statues and fountains. Start with that. Alright, I'm going to count up the total, see what you guys got.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, start at the top. Yeah. Alright, right now you are at 20 points. You need to do a little catch up here. 20 points after 1 round. You need to do a little catch up. If the top right one gives you any problem, look back at your notes. See if you can find an example. That looks simple. Well, that's a great question. We're not working with two variables right now. So the question you should ask yourself is how do we get 2 points? So look back, if you're not sure, look back at your notes. I know. And there can only be one variable, not 2 things. 2 things, right? Yeah. Right. But, just like before, it was asking for Nellie and Nellie's sister, right? But we didn't have an N and an S. We said, well, like Nellie drove 3 times the amount of her sister. So Nellie was like 3T, and sister was T. Just like this, we know, what, there's 4 times as many fountains as statues, right? So if we know that, let's say T are statues, what is fountains? No, what I'm saying is this. You know T are statues, right? We know that there's 4 times the number of fountains as statues. We don't need, we need F. So like, let's say T is statues. You know there's 4 times as many fountains as statues. So how can 4 T? Because T is statues, we do 4 times T. And you got to remember at the end which ones they have the foundation number of statues. Don't be done with that yet. Go. Don't be done yet, right? You want statues at fountains, you got 1 or 2. Gotcha. You told me that one of the 2, right? But I want to know statues and fountains. Right now you told me one of the 2. So how are you going to figure out the other? Fountains. You don't know what it is. There's 4 times the number of fountains as there are statues. So are there more fountains? But there are 4 times the number of fountains. Okay. So then, if I was thinking of this, I'd say, let's make T the number of statues. And we know there's 4 times as many fountains. So we say no, right? And then you say this is statues 4 times times. And then when you add these together, that should give you. It's similar to that one in the notes. Where we had Vanelli, she was 3T plus T. So like if there were 6 times the number of fountains, we'd say T is the number of statues, and then 6T. Like the whole thing is, the reason we can use one variable is because it tells you how statues and fountains are related to each other. If it didn't tell you that, you just have to make a second variable, make 1 half of 1T. But because it tells you how they're related, you can What I also know is 4 times the number of fountains is statues. But you have less fountains. That's 4 times. What do I do? F is the number of statues, right? Then it is 4 F the number of fountains. So you got F equals 36. Just be careful at the end. Like make sure that if you're gonna get 2 numbers, you got the right number. Just make sure that it makes sense in the way. I got this.
I can't see it either.
Here's my question. Don't put 33, 23. Don't tell me I need to run 33, 23, 23 videos. That doesn't make sense. Why up and down? You're right.
Because if you write down, you're going to be under your bunch of your
So a lot of people, I'm impressed, because a lot of people would say round down, because 0.333 is
No,
less than 33.
how many pages must
To go over, right? Yes. So that would, exactly. So you got
Absolutely
why 34? You're right. So let's say it was 33. Right? Like I would. This is the first one. This is the first one. If we put in 33, this would still be more expensive. So if we put 34 in, then suddenly this one would be more expensive. So that's how, I mean, that's how I would check. I don't think there's any other way to know other than putting in 33 and 34 and seeing which one actually makes that good. Or just guessing at that. You can try. No, yes. You can use this to try to push yourself because it looks good. Yes. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put up the answers of what I want to give everyone the amount of time they need for the quiz. Here are the answers. Please go ahead and check the ones that you did finish. If you didn't finish all of them, that's totally fine. Don't expect you to finish all of them in this amount of time.
When did you finish all of them?
Well, that's good. Let's do it. I'm going to say this one more time before you do get that quiz, which is going to be in just a minute. Remember to label those variables at the top. And one thing we will be looking for, my heart just broke. There's one thing I'm going to be looking for when you guys are taking this. Alright.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So we throw it on the table. Alright, so it's right here.
Alright, right now you have 20 to 46. That's where you're at. That's the spirit. Alright, whenever you're ready. See, now I feel bad. I'm like, well, easy. I'm like, oh, no. Why keep making it? You close below it. Oh! It's got zip up.
I missed that. I made all four.
Alright, no more free shots. Alright. Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Alright, you have, what do we got here? It's got just between 20 and 25 minutes, which should be fine for the quiz. You guys go ahead and clear your desks of everything. Alright, before we take the quiz, quick question just to make sure we're all on the same page. We had a problem on the do now. Beginning of the hour. We had Ashley with 10 pennies and every minute she adds 3 to her cup. Another person with 25 pennies and every minute she adds 2. Someone with a raised hand, remind me, how would we write this? Yes, sir. How would we write this equation?
10 plus 3. 3 is 3p.
Yeah. Well, oh wait, actually, I'm making the mistake that I tell you guys not to make all the time.
You forgot to write what that variable is.
Yeah. Every minute, because I tried to make it penny. See, I caught myself with the same thing. M equals minutes, right?
Yeah.
10 plus 3m. We want it to be equal to
25
plus 2m. Good. And when we do solve it, we get 1m over here equals 15. So m does equal 15. Were you guys good guessers?
Yeah.
Well, there's someone in there that was a good guess.
Or here, I got it.
Alright, so what I would like you to do before I hand out the quiz is with that partner whom you spoke with before, don't move your desk back, you stay where you are. With that partner, I'd like to know what was already review, what were things that you already knew from today, and then what, if anything, was new. So please discuss that with your partner. What was a review, what was new? I love Mr. Rubens. What was review, what was new? I was new, that's true. I was new.
That was easy.
All right. I want to hear from some people. Someone with the raised hand. What was review? What did you guys already know? You definitely knew stuff coming in. What did you already know? Sir? You already knew Rubens. What else did you already know coming in?
Identify like key terms.
How to identify key terms. So that part of Rubens
How
identify.
to write the equation.
How to write the equation. Great. But how to solve equations once you had the equation written. Stuff you already. Okay. Now what was new? What was something you hadn't seen before? Using two variables. So something where it's like the statue is 4 times the number of fountains. How to use just one variable when it looks like you need to use 2. Anything else that was new or different? All right. You guys, I think you got this on lockdown. I'm pretty impressed with where you're at right now. You should be good. You have just over 20 minutes for the quiz. Good luck. Hold on for a second.